All right, we do appreciate your time. I appreciate you coming up.
Absolutely. Thank you all.
All right, then we'll do the information, and we will move on to our solid waste services discussion. And we will, gentlemen, we've got a few things there to look at in your package. And we'll just kind of, I guess, at this moment, ask Mr. Dodd and Mr. Duncan to kind of get involved and drawing for you, if you will, start us off.
For those of you who don't know me, my name is Randy Dodd, and I work for the county part-time as an accountant. And the sheriff asked me to take a look at the solid waste department. And when I was working on this, I have to say I was impressed that we're in as good a shape as we are, considering the circumstances. My understanding that had a rate increase in 8 years, and it cost us $2 million last year to provide this service. And we took in $2,050,000. So that's a very thin margin. If you think of it as a business, it costs you $2 million to build a product or provide a service, and you only collect $2,050,000. That's a tough way to do business. Now this is not a business. We're just trying to break even, but even trying to break even, that's a tough way to go. So I've looked at it and I've done some calculations on some rate increases. The main calculation here is going from $42 to $59 for residential service, and increasing the dumpster rate. I calculated we could increase revenues by $400,000 per year. In my opinion, this is going to be necessary because we need to buy a lot of new equipment. This is not something that has to be done today or this week, but I think at some point in the future, rates will have to be increased. Or it's not talk about some of the needs we have on equipment.
Look at a list of trucks the Michigan throw back. That's the representative of each truck that we can buy. Look at dumpsters, rolloffs. Yeah, a list of 6 where we're storing dumpsters. We had swap all that now, so they swap out. On the, as far as landfill, we had a great increase on landfill for about 15 years on what it is. So we had a sheet, the landfill sheet flew up on the rates out there.
I don't know if I need to interrupt him, but we're public here, and we have the video here. We could complain of the situation in 2025 is 1% county.
2025, if the landfill shuts down, we have to start, or Pineview landfill, we have to start. Yeah, we feel now all of the different deal, we feel West Harrison, we can negotiate prices as we do on our own. Say we feel that now all, we talk to Pineview or whoever takes over the public. We can negotiate price with them, so our people cost, and we can get over to West Harrison, and that to negotiate with them, take the price as far as that goes.
John, what's your estimate on estimated tipping fees per year?
Tipping fees be around 500 to 600,000.
We're looking at $500, looking at $500,000 a year, and then on top of that, we're looking at $250,000 Christmas bonus that's paid from that negotiation that ceases when that landfill closes. by that agreement. So we've got some ideas on that we'll get to in just a minute, because that is crucial, in my opinion, that these employees, our employees, keep that, even if it goes away from the landfill situation, and the way to negotiate, we'll talk about it, hopefully preserve that going forward. It is a priority, and it's the top of this discussion here. Because again, that bonus, and I think most employees know, I don't think most of the public knows, that bonus is paid from that agreement. So you're looking at $750,000 swing when that landfill closes, okay? Now, back down memory lane, 8 years ago, this operation, solid waste, was losing $500,000 a year. Had outdated equipment, had garbage trucks you had to ride on the back of. Me and Mr. Aderholt did that on the coldest day of the year. Kind of reminded me of that this week, and it snowed. We went and rode garbage trucks to see the process and to come up with solutions to fix that. Since then, a lot's been done. That's been documented, streamlined billing, streamlined the office process, bought the new trucks with automated arms, increased the customer base to where this operation is breaking even. But again, you're at the end of the life of those equipment. And without an equipment replacement plan in any department, eventually Randy is going to catch up with you, Robin's going to catch up with you, cost-wise. And that's kind of where we're at right now. But the elephant in the room is the $500,000 tipping fee and the $250,000 bonuses paid to hard-working employees every year. So that's priority number one in discussion. So, Jeff, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm going to push John, let you keep going.
Let me interject right here just a moment. Had a conversation with the chair in Weston County, Alabama, just a few minutes ago. And those tipping fees will be $26.94 that they're paying at this moment. Anything that's being brought into their county, they are charging $42 a ton tipping or fees. Thereby, they're making money. Thereby, saving and having the ability to pay and give maybe raises to the county employees that has not been done in years. These fees are available should we keep them. Should we not, then therefore these fees will go away. We might negotiate the $250, but we won't have any more money to have increases for new employees. So as we move on with this, we ask the commissioners to definitely look at increasing the fees and look at the new equipment that we might be able to purchase if we increase these fees, and looking at also picking up and bringing in more solid waste to the landfill, that we might even increase those rates more, or not rates, but increase those funds greatly. Whether or not we keep this or sell this, rates are going up. If you think they're not going to charge tipping fees just because they buy a garbage service or a solid waste service, you're backing up. These fees are going to be charged regardless. In a sale, when an individual company owns something, do you think they're in it to break even? No, they're not.
Sure, our goal is to break even. Somewhere else will be satisfied.
Right. I mean,
It is our goal.
in solid waste, you cannot transfer solid waste funds into the general fund. So there's no reason to accumulate except, you want to have a fair rate for the citizen and that operation break even. You don't want to overcharge to try to make a profit that you can't transfer anyway. So again, what you said, Randy, the whole goal the past 8 years was to get this operation pretty even. We did that fairly quickly, this first 8 years, and it's continued that way now.
No, they were true.
Yeah, well, a lot of hard work by those gentlemen there.
So we're gonna do a bit on it, except now our maintenance costs so high.
Because
We got, and that's something we had done. That's a good point, yeah, our maintenance is up so high right now.
Last year was $250,000 to spend on that.
What cost, even in your maintenance, your breakdowns, what are your costs in overtime? All, those numbers there,
Well, here's an offshoot of it. We have to spend $80,000 on the equipment bill.
Yeah.
So you're maintaining all the equipment, and having rid of it. So my point is the costs are catching up with the rates.
Yeah, yeah. And it, again, it's, the equipment's aged, so it's time to look at, basically, there's two options here. Mike sent out RFPs, they've come back in and he sent out a bid process. We've got 2 bids on the table to purchase the residential.
Factor that.
Do I?
Actually, we have 3 in there, they're not exactly the same, but they're certainly the same ballpark.
But let me finish my thought and I'll try to shut up. So, you got 2 options. One, we sell residential, end of the business. We're looking at purchasing a large amount of equipment here. And Randy, you got a total of millions of dollars this season in equipment.
Yes, sir.
Those kind of options. Keep our residential landfill open. And keep the roll-off business there, and maybe expand the roll-off business. But in the sale, the idea of that would be to negotiate a franchise fee that would ensure that Christmas bonus for the employees going forward. Again, without that, then we're looking at the increased equipment cost of millions. We're looking at $500,000 in tipping fee. We're looking at $250,000 in Christmas bonus coming up in the near future. So that's kind of the discussion of where we're at and where we're going. Same discussion we probably had about 8 years ago.
Code of Alabama. Code of Alabama, 1975, 22-7-3, subparagraph 5. Any county providing door-to-door solid waste collection shall not reduce such service unless and until a letter has been sent to each resident or property or business owner receiving door-to-door service stating that such service will be reduced or changed, and allowing at least 60 days for any resident, business owner, property owner to call for a public hearing, and for any county or municipality to hold such public hearing upon request. So there's a lot more to it than just selling.
Yeah, you follow the law, of course, and follow the stages of notices and things like that. Again, that's the topic of conversation. That's kind of where we're at. You got option A, you got option B. Gentlemen, it's our job to figure out what's the best option and where you're at. You vote your conscience on kind of where you're at. But again, this work session is hugely beneficial. I appreciate the chairman for getting all the information for all of us to process all the information and see what options that there are, and then make our best conscious decision on what we think is best with Walker County.
And to our engineer, from what I'm reading on the bottom of these proposals is that these fees that they're looking at does not include any tipping fees.
That's my opinion. Therefore, public service kind of has a way of access there, landfill.
Until and to when?
It is, based on what was placed in their regulatory agreement to open the landfill. It is closing in 2025 unless something takes place. And as of yet, they've been trying, we've been trying,
because they have plenty of airspace available, but they're going to have to shut it down in 2025. And they will either have another landfill for us to go to and pay activity fees, or we can negotiate with a different landfill owner.
Right, and our estimate, like John said earlier, about $500,000 a year typically.
I mean, it's more than likely it's going to be somewhere between $25 and $35 per ton. Yeah. Did you get the
She didn't get his numbers, I asked her earlier, she didn't get his numbers yet.
So here's your, think through this. You've got a set number of customers now. Okay. What, we're in the middle of a pandemic, so to raise rates right now, or to try to compensate for that even in the future, I mean, you can do the math on that $750,000 if you want to try to compensate that by a rate increase. So, no.
Well, irregardless, if we compensate it, or we compensate it, or they charge it, you're gonna pay it. Because when they're charging the tipping fees, and the tipping fees are being charged, who do you think's gonna pay it? It's gonna be the consumer.
I feel if we do our due diligence, we work more numbers, more concrete, we hear the equipment. What equipment do we need? What are the costs of that equipment? How would you finance, purchase that equipment? Lease, purchase, whatever, resale. I want to know more in that realm, but kind of what the chairman says, I feel I'm elected by the citizens of Walker County. I need to do what is best for the citizens of Walker County. I'm not looking at this as make a profit business. If one can make a profit and it offsets the other, and we break even, I feel we have done our duty. I'm not in for making rash decisions. I want more information to make my decisions, and that comes into the.
Those are very good questions. We were trying to be conservative and say we might get by instead of getting off. It may be cold. We need to firm that up.
So we're looking at 250K of debt service a year.
Yeah.
So now you're in the meat.
So we're hoping the maintenance costs will come down, equipment rental. We're hoping for something better.
Well, I want to just, with John, you've been checking on some bids. What are some ideas that you've got that people like a monthly lease on one truck?
He said they're, if we're qualified, he's right now, they're SBA loans that you can get right now. He said, he no more have a commissioner decide they want to go and will turn in to the banks and everywhere else and get a bunch of phone calls if we don't go through with it. So what he's got on the truck, just on the residential trucks, and he buys them for that's $930,000 just for residential trucks. And the rate we're in right now, doing in our maintenance house, we don't have a spare truck to run. So my truck got hit yesterday. My guys working overtime to get the price. You got 500 customers a day, some around 600 customers. We got to get this up. What is pay to rent another truck that I really don't want to do. Or I think I got it overtime to pick it up.
So let me ask the question here. So basically, as District 1 here, Mr. Davis pointed out, we're gonna have about $250K a year in payment. How much are we gonna be savings with the new equipment per year in maintenance?
I would be significant. You know, we're
Is
to leave it now.
100,000 range?
Yeah,
And by the way, if we don't rent those trucks that we've been renting, how much are you saving?
And we paid 80,000.
80,000, so there's 180, so if we take that away, we're only looking at 70,000 basically out of pocket that we're not already spending.
Right, and it goes back, that was the decision made, we're right back before we started the initial conversation with it. That was a decision made in 8 years ago, was to make that purchase and through loss prevention, through maintenance costs going down, and increasing customer bases, we're able to make those purchases, those trucks down. Again, now those trucks are wore out, so what do? Do you stay in the garbage business, or do you entertain and look at the 2 to 3 bids we've got before us? But you still got to compensate the tipping fees and employee bonus. Again, like we stated when we started the conversation. Again, I know you can maybe get close to equal the payment out with maintenance costs and savings and of that sort. But you still got those 2 things that we have to talk about and
Right.
see which one's the best way to go, you know?
And that's what this is about today.
Yeah, 100%.
What thing you said earlier, Steve, is option A or B.
Yeah, I mean,
You know, if you're gonna stay with this,
well, yeah.
eventually you want to raise the rate. Eventually, not today. But or you gonna get out of this. That's your choice.
I just want to make a point that, again, there are procedural aspects to this, but the reality is in 5 years, 2025, Pineview is going to close down. There is going to be an increase, and there is going to be some changes. You mentioned potentially increasing revenue on the side of solid waste, and again, Commissioner Davis pointed to it. By law, I bring my Code of Alabama books with me today. By law, we can't increase rates on that side of the budget and bring them over to distribute employee bonuses, raises, anything, and through the general fund of the rest of the county. We don't have a mechanism to distribute bonuses, period, in this county, other than a statute that is funded by, for public statute, when all that came together, that was part of the benefit. So if time use ceases to exist, the employee bonus effectively by law goes away. So it's not even a procedural aspect of what we can decide to do. This is going to be something that has to be done in Montgomery with our legislators to make a law or adjust the law in order for us to go forward and hopefully continue to be able to provide Christmas bonuses and things like that for our county. But again, what's tied to solid waste right now is irrelevant to what happens in the general fund.
So thereby the 250 is even out of the equation.
And that's what we've been working to hopefully try and prevent, because again, that's a substantial part of our employees.
I don't know if I could word it out of the equation. I think, again, that's the 4-point priority right here, is how we want to maintain and keep that employee bonus for these employees. After, and you might as well say 4 years, because 2021, this year will fly by. This conversation here will take months of us going through to figure out a decision, in my opinion, of what we all vote, and then how the vote goes is, of course, what the commission votes is what happens in that situation. But that's the priority, in my opinion. And then having a economical rate for the customer, the consumer. Because you can do the math on how many customers you've got and what the increase is going to be and what the rate increase will be if you don't increase customers. Right?
That's a good question. How do we increase customers?
Yeah, and increase the revenue.
How do we increase?
Yeah, I agree with that, Steve.
But it's a difficult situation. Y'all got a tough choice.
There's one answer to that, just like the rest of the counties. Just do a survey on the rest of the counties and see what the rest of the counties around us are doing. Any other discussion?
Sorry, you
Yeah.
got
You've got Greg here with Greg
Here.
Yeah.
Gary. I mean, what I'm saying.
Can I say any words as well? Yeah, very good. I just want to explain the bid.
and what our bid entails, and then maybe, yeah, there were some bids, no arrows, theirs did not include disposal. Our bid, that number that we gave you, does include disposal. There would be an extra charge for disposal. Competitors, I think, theirs was a little bit different. That. Ours, we gave you a rate, really two rates, y'all asked for one that y'all continue to do the billing, one where if it's privatized and the haulers should go from one. I kind of like in this discussion, if we look at the summary bill, which is y'all continue to do the bill, we charge you, I think that was $14.35 per month. The franchise fee can be used, it doesn't, that's not included in, doesn't go to solid waste, we won't have a solid waste fund, okay? So that franchise fee could be used, just as the franchise fee for the landfill is used for hosting, for those. We easily get there, the rates to the residents would go up, yes. But probably not as much as, I think, the county would have to raise. So, and same on the front load containers, if we took over the front load, the work, and the cars, stuff that's already out there. And any replacements, car brakes, split, that's not a county expense, we replace that, repair the containers, whatever. So with the franchise fee that the county builds in could easily get to that $200,000 annually. Even with the overage, like you leave even if you don't even raise rates in front of it.
Yeah.
I was going to make $4,000 a month there. You bump the, what's current, $14?
1450, 1445.
Maybe that 1650. Plus you'll get the money right now. That's a landfill, the OSB might as well go there because of the tons we charge. Because I got to charge myself. We're not free tons, you don't get OSB. OSB may go up. That right there's $233,000 annually just by my quick math. And you usually get to 250. Raising the school.
But it seems we'll have problems with that after 225, 2025, correct?
Yeah, that actually held back to 2025. It's the quicker we do it, I'm not saying do it tomorrow, I mean, y'all got to make y'all's decision. But 2025, if we started this year or early next year, whenever y'all think it's good. This franchise fee money, you're still getting the host fee money till 2025. This is additional $250. You back that, use that in 2025. You still have these franchise fees coming in, plus the tax. Okay. The next one.
Right, in 2025, tipping fees are included in this rate, but you just, what the rate
These are included in this.
correct. So the $500,000 additional that we're looking at, if we stay in the residential business and purchase new equipment, now that's $750 plus $250 is back to the bidding we said earlier. Or we look at possibly selling the residential and recovering the Christmas bonus for the employees, and rates slightly go up for customers, versus option A, where the rates could significantly go up for customers to cover $1 million versus covering $250, 3 times the adjusted rate, just by the math.
So
Without additional revenue, sure.
So let me make sure I understood you. You're guaranteeing that the tipping fees are not going to be charged after 2025. They're going to be at these rates.
Let me ask you this way, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
The next closest facility after Pineview closes is where?
Well, we got 2 fairly close. You got Big Sky, which is in Aderholt, Church County.
now Olive, which is Gardner.
Would we continue the same rate that y'all weren't just including what would be paid as a tipping fee?
Yeah,
Once you got those
it.
facilities?
Yeah, if y'all continue to do it yourself, when time he closes, yes, you got to pay a tipping fee no matter where you're gonna go.
Right.
If a private, if me, public services picks it up, my disposal rate is in that number. I'm not saying, my bid is not, it's, $60 per resident, 25 is gonna be 18 because we gotta add disposal. The disposal's already in there.
Right. So you're not going to increase the disposal fee for going into Jefferson County down at one of your other facilities that I guess what we're trying to get to here. Yeah, is that a yes or a no?
This tipping fee is included in this.
Cities are included in that rate. Now, I think your point is, okay, if Mount Olive or wherever, just say we haul it to Mount Olive, if Mount Olive fees went from 25 to 35, yeah, the rate probably has to go up. I don't see, you can't predict what landfill's rates are going to.
Well, let me ask you this, these rates in the bid now, what was they good for? How long will the bid is, man? 3 years. For a year?
It's a three-year contract, like you have an annual CPI in there, because our rates go up, and myself, around 3% a year.
CPI is a 3-year agreement.
Three-year renewal options.
Basically, the way we're set up, after 3 years, we're not satisfied, and we can always get back and start with it.
But at that point, would it not be diligent to get back to the business from scratch? It would have to be that.
How many counties here do y'all service has? Cities and counties included?
Cities and counties? Well, I manage 61 contracts. That's from, the north of Montgomery to Huntsville, state line.
And I think Rick said, out of those 61 that you had, have y'all reduced or told a county or city that y'all not want to keep service for them when they had to get back in the garbage business? What's the percentage of that turnover?
And we never terminated the contract.
So that's not a likely to be, that didn't happen.
Anything's possible. Anything on it. And that's a good question, but you gotta have a contingency plan in case something did happen. But, zero.
Yeah, I mean, you could, like I said, you would be happy with us, but if not, you can revisit it. 3 years, whatever. But typically, counties and cities who get out don't get back in because of the cost.
Yeah, I think that's well said. I think if we go out, we need to look at it like we're not going back.
Yeah, what you said, that was a good question.
So basically, then, what it really amounts to is, if this is a bad thing for the county taxpayer, when we step back in 3 years, it could be just basically like some past administrations in financing the warrants that we're looking at doing something with again and paying back for years and years and years.
I think it'd be a very unattractive option.
We be right back when you're saying the situation, you find the equipment, you're rehiring, employees for that situation. But again, most county commissioners that I know and talk to on a yearly basis that across the state, they don't want to be in the garbage business. Right? The reason private entities handle that, private companies handle that. And I'm just an old school conservative that if a private business can handle it, I don't think the government needs to be handling it. I mean, the government's here to provide services that can't be handled by private or effectively, recall effectively, by private entities.
Does Republic Service handle Winston County, Alabama's public service?
We do the disposal and the front load commercial for Winston County. Not the residential.
We do manage the contracts for unincorporated Shelby County, Bibb County, Talladega County, and Blount County, and Marshall County. So those are just our local ones that we handle, and we've had them all for a pretty significant amount of time, and they get renewed every 3 years and things like that. All in all, pretty happy with our service.
It's comparable as far as population, budget-wise. Blount County's probably closest to Walker County. When you sit down and do a statistical analysis of each county, what their population is, what their revenues are, and how their budget breaks down. Blount County, and Glenn, you can attest probably that, Blount County's probably closest to Walker County in those statistics.
And let me say too, I don't necessarily agree that it would be uber costly to get back into the business, should we go with the option of getting out. One proposal that's on the table now is to basically reintroduce the whole new department with new equipment and all upgrades. So, I mean, your cost would that would probably be nominal in 3 years versus doing a large buy now. So, I mean, it could go either way. I'm not necessarily thinking it's a negative thing. So I wouldn't recommend that we necessarily sold all of our current equipment that we got for 36 months, or at least 18, to make sure that we're happy with the transition if we decide to do that. But I don't think in 3 years, if it's something that we decided that we don't want to do anymore, it would be an enormous cost over what we're already talking about having to do now. So.
And a good point there, Commissioner Aderholt, once we feel comfortable selling that equipment, then that's additional funds there that's available to continue funding. Litter crew program is, vital for this county. That's funded out of solid waste funds. So, there's a lot of moving parts to.
You'll have a lot to digest.
Yeah.
I'm curious about this. How many employees do you have?
24 a week with solid waste.
All of them full-time employees?
3 of them part-time.
All right, so we keep talking about the bonus and what's good for the employee. Is there a guarantee that y'all absorb all those employees?
No, we can't. 22 is a lot. We would fold a lot of this in. Correct. Now, we would, we're going to need some people, yes. We do interviews, we would hire, that go through our process like anyone else. And we even have, they wanted to look at Republic, and other offices, maybe somebody in Huntsville or Alphaville or Lansing, one of those locations. But we would look at hiring positions that we need. Yes, we look at hiring, but we're not being
You gotta look at, the 22 employees, you got 9 employees out there for 20 plus years. That's put servicing for this county for 20 plus years. So what's in it for the,
Let me say, we've studied this before you guys got on here, and so I went out there, it's in my district, so I go out there and I know most of the employees, and I think either way, we've got a way to take care of our employees. Of course, that's not in stone, how, what, and how, we've already put a lot of thought into that. And like I said, that's a sticking point for me, I think everybody knows we want to take care of the employees. And throw something else in there. Now, I don't know, when we do our billing, is it possible? I don't know if we'd all agree we want to do this. Since we each represent a district, we each represent citizens, to put some kind of note in there explaining what's going to happen in 2025. These are our options. Get a poll on maybe the citizens, if they wanted, to stick with county government running their garbage business or go private. I don't know.
Get some feedback.
I don't think we're going to make a decision in next week. I'm just saying, that'd just be more data here that you guys have brought to the table.
You could ask those questions in the public hearing, you don't have to have.
Yeah, that's true. So, there's a lot still to think about. We do want to keep this, we want to provide a service that does a good job, whether it's us or somebody else, we just got to, come to that decision. A lot of different people have a lot of different people.
And, I'd also like to add to the employee situation, I'm 100% guaranteed that we're going to absorb whatever employees that would be close to retirement, those that didn't want to necessarily retire at this moment. I would guarantee that we would absorb the handful that there are, but we're also making an assumption that where we would give everything to a third-party bidder. I'm not of that persuasion. I think we will continue in the roll-off business, which is going to also produce those 222 employees. To get down to that, I don't think there would be any detriment to any of those employees that are there now. They're going to continue either going and working with a new company or being maintained by the county in some other form.
Well, some of what I was headed with is like legalities, that's what we need to do some more. I'm not sure, but we go through civil service, so say you laid off 10 of the employees, you terminated their job. Okay, if you have part-time employees, then those jobs would have to go away, those full-timers would have to be absorbed, so the people still lose their jobs, per se, that's something I would like to.
Still not even getting to that,
Yeah,
going
yeah,
to get to that point. It's not even true.
Still a roll-off business that you look at expanding, because I think there's a need to expand it. And also, if you got a landfill operation, it will still be operating. The thing to do, and Jeff's got a good idea, and what the chairman read about the public hearing, is to lay out the options A, B. And Randy, we need the numbers. What are we looking at rate increases without doubling customer base overnight?
Right.
You know, I mean, what are you looking at that with option A? What are you looking at with option B? And taking into consideration the 215 employees that we got. I mean, it's a weighty decision that, you know, it's going to take some time to process and make sure that we have all the information, we present all the information, and get feedback from the public, like Commissioner Burrows said.
And one other question we'll have to ask each employee that's there is that what they interested in doing something else besides working for the county. They may or may not be, and if so, we may have to absorb all the words, or we may only have to absorb one.
Yeah, you know, what the public would offer per hour, and how many, you know, that's a conversation too.
I think it's one reason we brought it up last year. I mean, it's gonna take time.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't know how it's gonna rush anything, so.
And we'll help with your transitions, all the steps and phases. We've got spreadsheets that this has to be done, your mail outs have to be done, and the timing on everything. That's kind of what we do, is hold your hand through the process and make sure all you guys are on your toes to answer questions from your constituents.
Thank y'all for what y'all do. I know it's probably dog eat dog on y'all end, but, you know, we appreciate your input.
Yeah, been expanded to walk in a long time, and we can see that you actually. So, if you got that number, you got any questions in the meantime, let us know.
And one last comment on that. It's been a fantastic relationship. The relationship's not ending in 2025. Doing anything from the commission side or anything from the public side. It is issued completely out of our control. Both parties out of our control.
We didn't want this to happen, I didn't want it to
We
happen.
didn't want to have it, y'all didn't want to have it.
Started in 1992.
And we've exhausted all resources, and your company has exhausted all resources to make that happen in 2025. So, like that statement.
One other question. What was the last land purchase and what date was it out there?
Land purchase,
Yes.
it was fairly recently, we did purchase some land and get dirt from, last year.
Okay, so a year ago. All right, thank you. Any other comments, Commissioner?
Other than Mark and John, I mean, this is unbelievable, it's pretty probably data they've got. I mean, like I said, it pulls down A and B. But I would like to see maybe pull our customers. Explain. It's landed in the mail out, what's happening in 2025, and here regardless. Things are gonna change at that time.
All right, we'll move on to our business license. Discuss those. We have a packet there included for you. You will see the